Aloha, Dr. Matt James here, and I wanted to do a quick video for you. This is my last day here in Italy, and I did a video this last summer on my last day, and felt really good to do this, I want to talk to you about truthfulness. I want to talk to you about being truthful with yourself, being truthful with other people in your life. The Hawaiian word Oiaio. Oiaio is truth. I didn't always live a truthful life. I have to admit that. Some of us, we go through life thinking it's easier to not hurt someone's feelings. And so, what do we call it? A white lie. You know what? At the end of the day, I don't care what color you make the lie. You can make it a white lie. You can make it a pink lie, a blue lie, a green. It doesn't matter. A lie is a lie. And one of the core teachings in Huna, one of the core teachings in the spiritual path that I practice is truthfulness, Oiaio. Big part of the Hawaiian culture, what I grew up in. And I was teaching, it was back in the 90s. And I got up in front of the group and I was wrapping up a class and someone asked me about the deeper teaching of aloha. And I started to go through it from my own perspective. And I got to truthfulness. And I wasn't in the best shape back then. Weighed about 235 pounds on a 5'9" frame that was obese. And I would sometimes tell people that I was taking care of it when I wasn't. And I would sometimes tell people everything was okay when it wasn't. And I would sometimes tell people there's nothing wrong when there was. And I got up on stage and I started teaching this. And I heard my own words. My grandfather said to me, your ears are the closest to your mouth, so you should be the first person listening to what it is that you're saying. And I heard my words and I went, wow, I need to practice this. I need to practice it, and I need to practice it with integrity. Because if you're not truthful even to yourself, and you tell yourself lies, you tell your partner lies, you tell your kids lies, you become the lie. Energetically, you become the thing that you say. I mean, this is why I still teach in neuro-linguistic programming to this day, because the power of words. Words have such incredible powers. Words don't describe the world we live in, they create it. And so if you tell lies, you become the lie. And I've seen people go down that path, sadly. So people, when they hear me say this, they go, yeah, but Dr. Matt, or Kumu, if it's at my Huna training, Kumu, how do I be truthful when it's mean? That just means that you're looking at it from that perspective. It just means that you're looking at it from the perspective of it being mean. You could probably find a nice way to say something. Sometimes telling the truth is telling someone that you're not ready to talk about it. My daughter, so incredible. She turned 10 this year. And my daughter just, when she was younger, still to this day actually, but when she was younger more so, I called her my little truth bunny because she couldn't hold anything in, man. She couldn't keep a secret. It's like, it just came out and I was so happy about that. I was so proud of her. And she came home from school one day and she said, Daddy, I had a very difficult day today. I need to talk to you. And I said, okay, what's up? She said, one of my friends asked me a question and I didn't want to answer it, but they asked, so I had to. I said, whoa, wait a minute. What are you telling me? And she said, well, I didn't want to share this information. To me, it's private. And I said, okay, why didn't you tell them it's private? She said, because I always want to tell the truth. And I got to explain to her, I said, Skylar, sometimes telling the truth is telling someone that you don't feel comfortable talking about it, that you don't feel comfortable sharing the information. I said, sometimes you have to tell a friend something that's difficult and you can find a gentle way or a good time to tell them. So you can always preface something. You can always start something off by saying, I have something difficult to tell you. It's going to be difficult for me to tell you. Are you in a space where we can have a conversation about something? I've had students come up to me and say, I got to ask you a question. And they ask me and I can feel the sweat building up in the back of my neck because I'm going to be truthful with them. And I've sometimes looked at them and said, are you actually ready for what I'm going to tell you? I've had some students actually pause and go, no, No, actually, no, Dr. Matt, I'm not. I'll come back to you tomorrow. Funny thing is, in those moments, though, it's usually not as difficult as they thought it would be, but in the moment, they just weren't ready for it. Truthfulness doesn't mean that you're a jerk. Truthfulness doesn't mean that you're mean. Truthfulness means that you're speaking from your heart. Truthfulness means that you're not going to always get it right. In this day of political correctness, and I'm not going to go off on a tangent here, I'm not going to get into the politics of this or anything. Can we just all agree that we live in a world where what offends one person might not offend another, and what offends that person might not offend the other individual? And I've lost track of where the lines are at this point. At the end of the day, I draw on my teachings, and that is when you speak from the heart and you speak from truth, then what you did is punno, what you did is right, and what you said is all that you could have said. And if the person is offended by it, at least you know that that's their issue to deal with. That you spoke from your heart, you did the best you could, and you found a way to speak your truth in a gentle, kind, loving way. And at the end of the day, if you do that, you become the truth. You become the truth that you speak. And in doing so, that becomes your life. It's a major part of my spiritual teaching, and it's something that I took myself to task with a long time ago, back in the 90s when I began to teach this. I do my best. I don't always get it right. And I'm going to conclude with a time where I was pushed up against it, and it was with my daughter. My daughter came home from school. She was very flustered. And, we celebrate Christmas. And as a doctor of psychology, I believe that it's a natural development process for kids to go through believing in things like the Easter Bunny and Tinkerbell. And you see this in Morris Massey's developmental periods, that it's okay for them to go through that. They naturally come out of it. Some parents believe that it's better to just shut that down. And my daughter was in the back of the car and she said, "Daddy, my friend told me that there's no such thing as Santa Claus." And I said, "Okay, what did you say?" She said, "I started arguing with him and we got into a really big argument. I'm really not happy with him." This is a few years ago. And I said, "Okay, Skylar, what do why does this bother you? Maybe the kid doesn't believe." She's like, No. Her parents told her that there's no such thing as Santa Claus. I knew the question was coming. Pause. "Daddy, is Santa real?" I practice truthfulness. I know what the question is. So I took a moment and I said, "Skylar, is Santa Claus real to you?" And she said, "Yes." I said, "Then Santa's real." Because as a kid at that time where the fantasy world is real, it's real to them. And I didn't see any harm in saying that. Yeah, maybe if she had pressed me and said, "Is he real to you?" Maybe I could have tried to say, "Well, I've never seen anyone prove that he doesn't." I could have gone down that path, and I'm just glad that as a kid she let it go. And she said, "Okay." And I let her live in that world. I believe there's a difference between denial, where you act like everything's okay, or where you actually see beauty and joy in the world around you. When you live a life of truthfulness, you see that beauty, you see that magic, you see that joy, you see that love all around you. And I hope this inspires you a little bit to be more truthful. Take small steps. Start to be truthful with other people. Be truthful with yourself. And do it from the heart. And if you do, change your life. Aloha, a hui hou.